Hi there, this is Writer's Row, where we talk about writing and the creative and business side of it. And we have a special guest. Oh, I should introduce us, right, DC?
It helps.
So, my name's David Gane.
DC Wright-Hammer, as always.
I'm fantastic as the host, always.
Yes.
And on my other side is
WB Welch.
And well, okay, yes, our guest stars.
Oh, sorry, it went silent. I thought it was my turn.
Okay, it's totally fine. And DC, did I really introduce you? Not really.
No, but that's okay. You didn't introduce yourself very well either. But on Writer's Row, we roll with the punches.
We do, because that's how this show is made, right?
Yep. So what we can do to smooth things over a little bit is just see how everyone's doing. So, David, how are you doing this evening?
I am great. I am doing fantastic. I have beer in hand. It is a local brewery, Nokomis, which is a craft ale. And yeah, I'm had a good writing meeting with my writing partners, so we are on track again, hopefully, on our book. How about you guys? How about you? I'm gonna focus this. How about you, DC?
Doing well. I have written like 800 or 900, almost 1,000 words this week, which is more than I've written in a while. So I'm really excited about that. If people have been keeping track, yeah, it's been a big week. I've had a little bit of a breakthrough. Back in the story, back in the saddle again, and having fun with it. And like no pressure, just the story came to me as it has in the past. So really excited about that. And WB, really excited to have you on the show. How's it going? What's going on with you? Anything you want to tell us about before we dig into the show's topic?
I'm sorry.
How's the writing?
Going really good, actually. I've had a lot of free time, kind of unexpected this week, to get some work done, and I'm working on writing a new project that I actually haven't formally announced anywhere. And sorry, I'm not going to just yet, but this is a this is an individual project that I plan on releasing sometime, maybe about a month or so after Tori and my zombie novella comes out.
Can you tell us the zombie novella at all?
I can. We actually just did a title reveal yesterday, and we have some other goodies for you tonight. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the plot a little bit. So our book is going to be called The Last Letter. And it's called that. There's kind of a double play on words, obviously, because the last letter in the alphabet is Z, and it's a zombie book. So, haha. But also, the format of the book is that it's a correspondence between two people who are in the zombie apocalypse. So there's two friends. I'm sorry?
I got excited. I said nifty.
There are two friends who are trapped in the same neighborhood but in different houses after, the event goes down. And somebody who is more physically adept and a little brave offers to do some running for the neighborhood to grab supplies and whatnot. And he offers to start carrying letters back and forth for the two main characters. And so you get to watch the story of the zombie apocalypse kind of unfold as they write back and forth to each other. And then, everything kind of comes together, obviously, in the last letter of the book. And we are so excited to get this out to you guys.
And when does it come out?
This summer. Should be late June, early July. It's in the editing stages now, and we have the cover in the works and another little surprise that we're supposed to get back hopefully in a few weeks that we'll be able to put up on Twitter kind of as some promo fun stuff. So really good things going on.
Awesome.
Really cool.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, I was going to just say really cool concept. I think the zombie subgenre of horror is somewhat saturated at this point. It's just there's so many entries to it. having a really clever way of telling the story like that already makes it fresh in my mind, already makes it something new and different. So that's really cool, really very interesting.
Thank you. And that I have to give all the credit to Tori on that. The format was completely her idea, and the zombie book too, actually. I don't know if I ever saw myself writing a zombie book until she hit me up and she's like, "Hey, you want to write about zombies with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it."
I wanted to know, what is the word count on it? How big of a book is this?
Editing, so we don't have a final number, but I think last time I looked, we're around 20,000, give or take. I'm horrible. Like the app that I use Scrivener, and it doesn't tell me, so I don't always keep up with it. Well, you have to look for it. It's not just at the bottom, because it's broken up in sections. So I don't check it every day.
I'll give you some guidance on Scrivener. I'll help. I'll make it easier for you. So
I haven't been using it for very long, just for about a year, but I haven't really dug into it. I just kind of jump in and use it.
I'm the same way, and then I push a button and I discover something new. So, but I actually wanted to do is, you talked about your that something is coming for a bit of the marketing, and I thought that was a good transition into what we're going to do for this week, which is we want to actually talk about marketing that has worked, that hasn't worked for everyone on here, and just ideas, and explore it a bit. Because one of the reasons why I really wanted you on the show was because I'm always admiring your marketing, WB. And then DC is also comes from a very different kind of perspective, I find. And I really just kind of want to pick both your brains and see what we can share with people who are watching. So first of all, I really want to start with, because you did a trade show where you had a setup at WB, and you were selling your books, but you were also selling jewelry. And I thought that was such a fantastic, selling merch on the side as well, which is still on your website, correct?
Yes.
Yes. How did that come about?
I'm pretty sure it was like a 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning thing. And I tend to do a lot of my business planning in those hours. I don't know why, but I get an energy and a creative mixture, and it goes its own places. But I just ordered my books, and I was picturing this, I don't know, I think it was like a 6-foot table, and I have one little novella or one little anthology sitting there, and I was like, I have to have something else. So I started thinking about what merch I can do, and I think I got on Amazon first and started looking up just blood drops just to see what was out there. And then I got on Etsy. And I don't know if you're familiar with Etsy, but it's basically an online marketplace for artists of all caliber to sell their items, whether it's woodworking or, it's a bunch of often handmade items, some reselling too. But anyway, so I started looking for blood drops on there, and I came across the hand-blown glass blood drop pendant first, I think. And so I contacted that artist and said, "Hey, would you sell in bulk?" And she said, "Yes." And so I said, "Cool. Hey, would you make me some little mini collectibles that I can sell or give away with my books too?" From there, I just started thinking of what else I could do that wasn't just a button or a sticker. And I have kind of a background in crafting, making jewelry and stuff just as a hobby. So I came up with keychains. I started looking for different charms that could represent different aspects of different stories that I knew people liked. And I don't know, I came across, I think, the candles. I was looking for something that had to do with s'mores, because her in the story, everybody talks about s'mores. So I found s'more scented candles that had a message in the bottom, and I was like, hey, that sounds, I grab and have a lot of different ideas. And if it sounds like it might work, then I give it a try and see how it goes.
That is awesome. And so when you are marketing, are you thinking, what's your approach to marketing then specifically? Like, you seem to play with a lot of different ideas. So
I've been kind of anticipating this conversation with you too, because I don't I don't plan things very well. My brain jumps around to 50 different places, and I try to decide what seems like the most viable idea that I can afford that people will actually appreciate, and I go from there. But I have a background in marketing, and I have a background of psychology just out of a hobby. I like the way the human mind works, so I've done a lot of personal research into that. Um, I worked front desk, so I've interacted with people a lot. So there's just a lot of experience that I can pull from that I think helps me understand people. And I try to keep things visually aesthetic and quality, which is important to me because sometimes things are done so quickly these days that there's not a lot of quality. And I think you can always spot that.
So what's your philosophy then when you're approaching marketing?
Kind of like a shotgun method, just get it out there.
Okay, but are you thinking products that promote the book, to that kind of advertise it that way, or is it a different kind of thinking? Like when you think about it, because for me, for example, we did our T-shirts. We've done stickers that we sometimes sell, sometimes give away. Our approach to our packaging has really been trying to craft it and shape it so that our I guess our idea is somewhat similar, where it's like give the best version of something, and hopefully that is a part of what tells the story of who Cunhas and Gane are. So that's in my mind, I find one of the things that I keep on doing. So,
well, and to your point, David, I think I guess a lot of what WB said is definitely my approach. I do work a full-time job, so I don't have a lot of mental cycles when I get home at the end of the night, do family stuff, and then I've got 9 minutes to myself. How am I going to spend that 9 minutes? Except for this show, right? But really, a lot of times it's kind of like writing to some extent. Like I'll get an idea to market, and I'll let it stew and kind of mature. And if it seems like a good idea, the energy kind of appears. Those 9 minutes become an hour and a half at 10 at night or 11 or 12, and I'll run with it. But I think to WB's point that when I became an indie author, one of the things I did want was to look professional, to stand out, to have more of a brand presence than simply be tied to a book or, even my name is sort of big. Wright-Hammer is a large name and it stands out. But I also wanted there to be some aesthetic behind that. I wanted visuals, I wanted story elements, I wanted creativity to come to mind. And so I do craft my brand as the innovative creative. That's what I like to call myself. And so when I started to do like book covers, like I wanted my book covers to be, everyone's like, oh, go out to Amazon and look at all the book covers in your genre and try to make it like them. And I did that, but then I had ideas in my head that were so story related, and I bounced them off my designer, and he came back with something really cool. And I looked, and I'm like, there's not a whole lot like this out there, but number one, it's professional grade, so it looks quality. And number two, it will stand out to some extent, and it does catch people's eyes. And to this day, my first and second books, people say, those are great covers. Those are interesting, different covers, and they're professional enough that I can get away with that. So, I agree. There has to be some inspiration to do marketing, but that inspiration has to come with the follow through of making it quality, making it appeal. Not just you have to be proud of it. You have to be able to sell it. You have to be able to put it on that, even if it is the only thing on a 6-foot table. You have to be confident about that little thing.
So then, I think this is one of those things that often gets confused, is the difference between marketing and advertising. how do you differentiate those two things, WB?
To me, and I'm not linked into pro terms, so I don't know what they really are, but to me, I don't know if I've really ever advertised blood drops. I feel like I have marketed it a ton on social media, but I haven't placed any specific ads anywhere.
What do you mean then when you say you've marketed it on Twitter, but you haven't placed ads, sort of thing?
I guess I differentiate it by paying, maybe. Going to a venue or an avenue, I guess, who is going to take my book and advertise it. I have gotten offered by one person to advertise it on their website, and I forgot to send it to them, and I haven't done it yet. But marketing is getting it out there, is talking about it, is getting your brand in front of people's face, whether it's your book title or your name, so that they are seeing it over and over. I don't know. I feel like it's all kind of blurry, really, but I guess to me, an ad is paying for placement or something where it's meant to appeal to a specific type of person.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. We did a video 3 or 4, I don't know, whatever it is now, but we did a video a little bit on brand building where my distinction was an ad is to elicit a response, like purchasing something or giving an ad for my mailing list. Hey, sign up for this, you'll get this. So it's really eliciting a response for someone to do something. Whereas marketing is embedding yourself sort of in some kind of stream of media. And so if it's social media, if it's an ad in a newspaper, whatever it is, it's really, it's more than just eliciting a response. It's becoming something people recognize, something people know a little bit more. That's the marketing side. And I think the other side of it is, anybody can run an ad for anything, and that ad could elicit responses that are negative. And we actually see this on social media where people will spam their books and they'll just put them out there and put them out there. And some people kind of think that that's marketing. They're like, oh, if I just put it out there enough, people will see this and they'll recognize it, they'll like it, they'll want to buy it. But it actually can have the adverse effect of harming that person's brand. That person's brand is now associated with all they do is spam their book. They're hoping to get a cheap sell here or there. They're willing to sacrifice looking professional. They're willing to sacrifice interacting with people, being a genuine person and things like that. And so I think that's kind of how I delineate marketing. You never sacrifice the brand for a single ad or a single sale. You protect it. Advertising is, I just want to get something out there. I just want someone to do something for me.
So let's pretend I'm just coming onto Twitter and I'm seeing you guys always on there. You're talking, you're getting positive reviews coming up. People are saying, oh yeah, I love the book. I want to buy the book, everything like that. And they're saying, how do I get to become a WB or a DC? What kind of advice would you say? What are the first steps? WB, why don't we start with you?
My biggest
WB on
my biggest advice is to be yourself and interact, but not in an image concerned way. Like, don't just get out there and say what people think they want, or don't say what you think people want you to say, because people can see through that. People can feel when you're genuine. They can feel whenever you're being real. Whenever I first really started pushing blood drops, I'm pretty sure I almost put everybody off because all I wanted to talk about was blood drops. And I very quickly saw the decline in interaction. It went from being really good to like dropped off, and everybody was tired of hearing about it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to shut up. I get it. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Don't leave me. I feel like marketing and branding yourself is more about branding yourself don't get so hung up on selling your work that it distracts from the interactions and the connections that you can make with people. The thing that really helped me the most, there's a book called Making Friends and Influencing People by Dale Carnegie. And I read this, or I listened to it on audiobook probably like 6 years ago. And it changed my life. And it taught me how fake I was being. It like that I didn't really care like I thought I cared. And so not only did it teach me how to interact with people on a more real level, but it taught me like how to really care about these people that I'm meeting and interacting with every day, and how to take advantage of even 5 minutes to get to connect with somebody, even if I don't really know them, even if I'll never see them again. Our conversation might change their life, or it might change my life. And I never give up the opportunity to interact with somebody, for any reason. And that is how I got, followers, and how I started following so many people, is just because I got on and started talking to people. I didn't get on Twitter with any kind of expectation to even get, to a couple thousand followers, much less, I think it's like up at 15 now. Like, it just blew me away. And, I'm thankful every day. And I try to give back as much as I can, and as much time as I have. I think I started rambling. I'm really good about doing that in videos. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
I love it when people ramble, because I think that is where genuine thoughts often come out, right? We just share. Sorry. DC, how about you?
Yeah, I actually did have an agenda when I got to Twitter, and I've admitted this in other videos, that I talked to my editor last July, and I said, what's this? How do I do this marketing thing? What do I need to do to get my book to the masses? And she's like, well, you got to do more social media. And she said, are you on Twitter? And I said, I made an account a year and a half ago. I haven't done anything with it. She's like, you need to do something with it. She's like, you need to get your tweet count up, and you need to get your followers up. And I'm like, okay, how do I do that? She's like, well, just get on there and follow the writing community. She gave me a bunch of hashtags to like follow and things like that. And so I did spend like probably 2 or 3 months going through the motions, like, oh, get this app and it will auto post for you and it will make you look like you're there and all this stuff. And so I went through that for 2 or 3 months, and I was just like, okay, this is like getting me nowhere. Like, it's work, even though it's automated to some extent, and it's not doing what I wanted to do. It's not presenting me who I am. Number one, I was like posting fun articles. I mean, it wasn't like all book ads or anything like that, but yeah, it really kind of started to click October, November, so 4 or 5 months in. And then it became natural when I actually met 3 or 4 people who were really cool, and that 3 or 4 people turned into 10 or 12, and that 10 or 12 eventually turned into David Gane. No. But and now he's my one and only. I just declared my love for you on Writer's Row. This is what we do on this show. Anyway, it's a love-hate relationship. Anyway, right. Turn that heart upside. I don't know. I'm just improvising now. But I'm closing in on 12,000 followers in a very short amount of time. I try to follow back as many people as I can. It helps that I am I guess it helps I'm a male, probably, that I can do that a little more readily than others.
What does that mean?
Women tend to get harassed more than males. That's kind of the way I'll put it from my understanding. So I can be a little looser with who I follow back and not fear as much repercussion from it, I guess, is the way I'll kind of put it.
I do have to ask, WB, do you agree with this?
I have to say, I have never gotten I don't know if I can say the lower region area, but I have never gotten a surprise picture.
You can swear on our show.
Okay, I've never gotten a dick pic.
That makes two of us, and now we're sort of cementing. After people watch this, they're gonna send us
Totally
uh,
dick pics now.
0 dick pics, 0 inappropriate pictures altogether.
That's the quickest way to like be unfollowed and blocked and all of it. So.
I'm gonna put in the description down below. No dick pics, please. But no. But while we're talking about dick pics, you should like, subscribe, and share this video, because it just got real. No.
How did it become
marketing.
this? Anyways.
Marketing, good. Do it. Go. David, what do you do for marketing?
First of all, can I just have all your followers? Because I'm so jealous. I think I don't even know what my follower count is, and I always wonder if that actually is a bad thing, that I don't worry about it and I don't track it as much, and I tend to not follow back people immediately unless I get a bit of interaction, or they if somebody that I follow and listen to and chat with will recommend them, that I'm like, yeah, I would totally want to. If you're recommending them, I always will follow that way. So I always wonder if that gets me gets in the way. I never really know what the heck I'm doing when it comes to marketing sometimes. For me, I always find that I've never really found Twitter to be a really great marketer of our books. And for me, it's always, if I can, for me, marketing has come down to, if I can do a pop-up, get Ange and I in a space, we really do really well, right? Part of it's the interaction, because when we're out there, we're not just trying to sell books. We're also actually just trying to have conversations with people, finding out, if we say, hey, are you interested in mystery? They say no. Then we say, what are you interested in? And just have a conversation, which is actually one of the reasons why, and I'm not trying to do a side plug to Friends of Cunhas and Gane, but one of the reasons I liked Friends of Cunhas and Gane, which is on cunhasandgane.com, is that if we can't give them what they want, then maybe I can guide them to another author who might have what they want. Oh, you're not interested in mystery? Here's some science fiction or some horror or something like that. And part of the reason I did it is I read the books and wanted to share other people with our readers, right? So to me, marketing has kind of become just doing. It sounds like what you guys are doing. It's about the interactions, but I try and do Twitter. I just find it. I don't think I put as much time in. I don't know about WB, but I know DC puts much more effort and time into it than I do. But I find that if I can put myself into a space, we've got our branding, we've got the posters, and we've got our T-shirts and everything like that, like I said. And I'm actually kind of excited because this weekend we have our biggest event for book sales. We did really, really well last time we did it. And now we're hoping to have a bit more chances at trying to interest people, because we do have the shirts and the stickers. And I got to double check, because you're not local, and it's a much more focused local event, but I'm hoping to be able to say, hey, you know what? We don't have that horror in our book, but here is WB's book, sort of thing, right? So, and I like that also because, and it's something that's been kind of crossing my mind about indie authors, is that as working together, being a part of a community, helping each other out. What's the line? The rising tide lifts all boats. if we're all working together, then we can kind of spread the marketing around, I guess, is what I'm doing. Because and this is the other reason I actually did Friends of Cunhas and Gane, is that I'm in a territory that you guys can't reach as easily, right? But if you have someone on the ground who's saying, here's a book, you should read it, that's fantastic in my mind. So that's I don't know, I'm kind of answering the marketing for everyone.
Yep.
So
well,
yeah.
And I think the line that I use is independent does not mean alone. And so if you are an indie author and you have to do your own marketing, you can reach out to others, you can help others, and what I find is by helping others, you find out a lot about what you want to do marketing. You learn from them. They become appreciative if you're helping others, and they'll go the extra mile for you as well. And so independent doesn't mean alone. And we're kind of making up for people like traditionally published authors who can get those contracts and can have marketing wrapped up in the contract of them writing the book. It's not always wrapped in. In fact, a lot of people will get contracts that will pay for the book, but they have to do some of their own marketing anyway. And so learning those skills, having boots on the ground in other territories and making those relationships, I think, are the most important thing. So independent does not mean alone.
Can I want to add on this about that because one other thing that we haven't talked about for marketing, and I know you guys are good at, is actually doing interviews with the YouTube community or podcasters or stuff like that. And actually, I've often used, if you guys go to somebody, then I'm like, oh, I definitely need to try and get a hold of those people. Yep. So yeah, that definitely is another way. If you're someone who's like coming new into Twitter and discovering Writers Row, and you're like, how do I be a WB or DC? It's like, go see what they've done and then try it, right? Like, even for Writers Row, we're reaching out to authors and saying, hey, come on our show and talk with us, right? So,
yep.
Out of time.
I think we're running out of time. WB, any last thoughts or anything you want to share on marketing before we go? And it's okay if you don't.
I did want to say, since you touched on it, David, that was actually a really important part that I feel like marketing wise helped me, was talking to people. As soon as my book hit, since then I've probably done at least 15 written Q&A sessions, and I've done 5 to 7 video and audio interviews at least.
Reaching out for those?
No, actually all of them have come to me.
Really?
But I do have a list of people that I'm looking to reach out to for our upcoming zombie novella. But I feel like that is a magnificent way to get your name out there, is to talk to other people in the writing community, because you're helping each other, and then they're also talking about your work because they want to help you, because they want you to help them as well. And so it's a symbiotic relationship, and definitely something to utilize.
Yeah. Anything
Shall we get to self-promotions and
promos?
Yeah. They can be shameless self-promos or just promos.
Okay. WB, do you have a promo that you would like to, anything you would like to promote?
I mean, I'm always happy to plug Blood Drops, my horror anthology. If you haven't read it, you should just be able to hop on Google and look up Blood Drops by WB Welch. But upcoming this summer is going to be The Last Letter by Tori Hunter and WB Welch. And if you're looking for something new and fun to read in the zombie genre, then definitely check it out.
Awesome. DC?
I'm going to plug my second book. And I don't have the blur on this time, so you can actually see the cover.
Yay!
All right, just calm down. So yeah, Between Two Minds, it's sci-fi psychological thriller in the near future. Some people have even called it speculative, where people's minds get downloaded from one body that they don't like and put into a body that they do like, and then, shit goes down. And so book one has been out. It's doing really well with reviews. Book two, I'm trying to get a little more publicity, trying to do a little more marketing of book two now. Takes the story on a much grandiose scale, much bigger, and takes it in an interesting direction. So you can get that on Amazon on ebook. I do have Wright-Hammer.com is a new domain that I have. I've got that website stood up, and you can get autographed copies of book one and book two from me on that website.
Awesome. Also, WB, what is your website before?
WBWelch.com. I'm not sure when this is going to air, but my website is undergoing some renovations, so I should have a new one launched in about a week or so.
Oh, it'll probably be up by then. So it'll be
the doodly doos.
Yeah. That isn't
doodly
my
D's.
thing. That's the Vlog Brothers. I'm just saying.
He's stealing it.
I am totally
He
stealing.
owes them money.
Probably. He's
All right.
probably doing. They're both probably doing way better than me. So
we got to come up with a different word, like for writers, right?
Bibbity boos.
Plug yourself, David.
I'm gonna actually plug CunusandGane.com again, only because you guys are on there, and I think it's you get the physical book, you get a lovely little letter from the authors. There's also the T-shirts and the stickers and all kinds of fun stuff. There's also Dawn's book is on there, Dawn Hosmer.
Oh, okay.
I did it. Gotta make sure we play them out the right way. I really go out and check out our website. Just even looking at all the friends of Cunus and Gane, because they're fantastic writers. So
awesome.
So
you do it.
You want to wrap it up? You can wrap it up, man.
Wanted to thank WB for taking the time for this episode. We were really excited, and it went off great, including the part where it was extra funny. So I really appreciate that. Thanks for coming on. David, go ahead.
No, you did fantastic. Thank you, WB, for coming on, and thank you, DC, for another episode of Writers Row.
Awesome. Thanks.
Have a good week.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.